কত টাকা দিতে হবে?
10 টাকা।
এখানে আর কটা আছে?
আর নাই। 10 টাকা।
10 টাকা?
মেরা কুছ রে।
Hi guys, today is February 1st. Today is a Tuesday. Basically, I am from a state where the goddess of Tantra, Kali, is being worshipped wholeheartedly. And why do we Bengalis do that? Because we love paradoxes, myths. This state is full of myths. This state is full of paradoxes. And today I just took some time out and thought that we are going to visit some of these temples which are located in deep jungles and has a number of myths surrounded to it. I'm going to tell you that story. So as you can see, we are out from our house in our car, and there are 3 guys with me, the partner in crime. This is Shubhankar. Shubhankar is driving us there. It's a long journey. And that's my father in the back.
We're really having fun.
And so we are heading. We are almost 110 kilometers out from our location. But it's going to be a great video. Stay with us. So obviously, as I spoke to you earlier, we're gonna visit a couple of temples. First is Rareshwar Shiv Mandir. It's located in the city of Durgapur. Now we all know Durgapur is an iconic place, so needs no introduction. Then we're gonna enter a place called Gorh Jongol. The place is full of lush green trees. Basically, it's a forest. To sum it up. But since that place is so scary, the temples situated in those jungles have popular myths. The first temple that we're going to visit is an ashram, and just near to that ashram there is a Kali temple called as Shama Rupa Kali Badi. And then we are going to visit a historical place called as Deul. There used to be a famous king here named Ichai Ghosh. And Ichai Ghosh has a lot of legacy. That place has a lot of legacy. So currently we are on those Durgapur expressway, and we are approaching Bardhaman. After we'll bypass Bardhaman, and then we'll visit a place called Valki Machan. Valki means Bhalluk. Bhalluk means bear, and Machan is basically a tall building through which they used to target the bears. So I'm going to show you that as well. So first, that's our plan. First we'll go to Valki Machan, then we'll visit the Rareshwar Shiv Mandir. It's a very old temple. Now it's under the purview of the Archaeological Survey of India. Then we'll visit the Gorh Jongol, where we'll visit the 2 places called the Medhashram and the Sham Rupa Kali Badi. Both have some sort of myths with it, which we're going to tell you further in this video. And then we'll visit Ichai Ghosh Deul. That's our plan today. This is the Durgapur expressway we are heading on. As you can see, it's one of the state-of-the-art highways in the state of West Bengal. Connects Kolkata to the steel city of Durgapur, and then it extends to the national capital, New Delhi. Guys, hi. Fortunate enough to have this breakfast today. I've shown you. This is called as kochuri, and we have torkari with it, and we also have a thing called langcha, which is very famous in this place called Shaktigarh. There are a couple of franchises that are coming up outside it. This hotel's name is Langcha Palace. So as you know, they specialize in this sweet, but they also have a number of stuff that includes kochuri and torkari. I'm gonna take a taste of it and I'm gonna show you and I'm gonna tell you how does it feel. Amazing, amazing. I mean, you can't realize that Bengal is so much more than Calcutta. So guys, as you can see, Amitabh Bachchan also came to this restaurant. As you can see, it's such a superstar he was, and the people were so moved by it that they almost actually put on their dates. And when did he come, the exact precise moment, why did he come, where was he going? Let me tell you, it was the movie Teen, which came in 2016, for which he was shooting here, and he was going to some place, and that's when he arrived here and had those langchas, those delicious langchas. So as you can see, huge fan of Amitabh Bachchan, completely inscribing the moment he arrived in this restaurant. So as I told you, we have reached Valki Machan, and I'm going to show you that structure in a minute. But before that, let's just listen into what the history of this place is. So basically, Valki Machan is a structure on which the Rajas, Maharajas of yesteryears used to take a good aim at the bears. Because bears, sometimes it's not easy to pick them and spot them and hit them with your sniper rifles. So that's why they made a tall structure in the jungle on which they could mount on and climb and mount on and then take a good aim before shooting the animal dead. As you can see, we are in the midst of these huge jungles, and here it is. Let me show you. You're almost there. Here is the structure right behind me. This is the structure. They basically used to climb up there and then they used to fire the bullets. Once upon a time, there were many bears here in this jungle. The local zamindars of that time and the people of the wealthy community used to hunt bears and other animals from the scaffold, which is the machan in Hindi or Bengali. There was a village nearby whose name was Valki. Due to the scaffolding or due to this structure, the name of this place became Valki Machan. The forest of Valki Machan merges with the forest of Bankura. Valkimachan jungle is undoubtedly not a deep forest, but a very picturesque place for a day trip or a picnic. just reached Durgapur, and from here we will go to Rareshwar Shiv Mandir, which is not very far away. Valki Machan, as you saw, it was almost an hour drive from here, so we reached Durgapur from Valki Machan, and now we are heading to Rareshwar Shiv Mandir. The speciality about this temple is that it's huge, and the reason it's huge is because the shivling of Lord Shiva, that's pretty large. That's not of normal size. It's pretty large, and as you can see behind me, this architecture is very old. We'll give you the details when you'll watch this video. But all I know is that it's being taken over by the Archaeological Survey of India. So this monument has garnered a bit of fame, a bit of attention, and that's why it's been maintained pretty well. The Rareshwar Shiv temple was built around the 12th century. The temple was built by one Raja Bollal Sen. It's made in the Nagada style with laterite and sandstone, and is famous for its colossal lingam enshrined in its sanctum sanctorum. The present height of this temple is 7 feet. Earlier, its height was 20 feet. But due to the natural calamities, the temple was re-edited, renovated, and reformed twice. The temple was built during the Rar dynasty, hence Rareshwar Shiv Mandir temple. The church of the temple, or the Churaha, or the pinnacle of the temple, is in the shape of a conch. The temple's tip was damaged by natural calamity, but an attempt has been made to restore it and bring it back to its earlier shape, informed Nandudulal Chakraborty, the temple's chief priest. We are now entering Gorh Jongol. Now, the history of this area is very complicated. This place is known as the Gorh Jongol, as I told you, And here in this Gorh Jongol, we have the fort of Ichai Ghosh. The fort is no longer visible. It has turned into a jongol. A copper plate inscription was recovered in 1833 by the British government, which actually brought to light the existence of this Raja called Ichai Ghosh. Ichai Ghosh had a significant influence and honor in Gorh Jongol area, as perceptible from the inscription on the copper plate. We can assume the period of Ichai Ghosh to be around the 11th century AD. At that time, the king of Bengal was Mahipal of the Pal dynasty.
We are heading for Maharishi Medhashram in Gorh Jongol, and I want you to take a look at this footage that we are recording for you. I haven't seen these deep jungles in my life.
Now, let me tell you the story of Medhashram. Bolipur, which we now call Bolpur, had a king, Raja Surat. Due to the conspiracy of his ministers, King Surat lost his kingdom. King Surat fled to Gorh Jongol, which means he came here to this ashram. Medha Muni's ashram was here at the time. We are going to see the scripture of that's the Medha Muni. Now, according to the advice of this Medha Muni, King Surat performed Durga Puja. According to the locals here, the tradition of Durga Puja festival started from here itself, from this event. Since worship took place here in the spring, the puja is called Bashanti Puja. After doing Bashanti Puja for 3 consecutive years, with the blessings of Mother Goddess, King Surat got his kingdom back. But in later years, due to the lack of care, this area was transformed into a forest. It was only in 1992 that a Naga sannyasi revived this place and Durga Puja resumed. Now we will discuss Shamrupa Kalibadi. Now Shamrupa Kalibadi has a different myth of its own. Shamrupa Kalibadi is situated in this very same premises. At the time, a powerful Kapali or a saint or a mystique resided here. He used to offer human sacrifices. That was the time of King Lakshman Sen. Raja Lakshman Sen fled the attack by a Delhi Sultan and took shelter in this very Gorh Jongol. So this place became a fortress not once but twice for king who lost their palaces or lost their territories. Well, coming back to the story or the myth, Lakshman Sen tried to dissuade that Kapalik from human sacrifice. He said that there would be no human sacrifice in his kingdom. Then the Sen told the king that if the king worshipped Mother Kali by offering human sacrifice, his lost kingdom would be retrieved. When the Kapalik did not keep the king's word from stopping human sacrifice, state poet or Rajkobi Joydev intervened. As a result, Devi became black, as you can see. It stayed black since that day, due to the prayer of the poet Jaydev. Since then, Devi has been known as Shama Kali. But this is all a story. There is no solid proof of the truth.
So the Raja came here from Bolpur after he was attacked by the Delhi Sultanate, one of the kings of the Delhi Sultanate, and he came here, and three goddesses, goddess of Lakshmi, Saraswati and Ma Durga, one of them came into his dream and assured him that he will be protected in this time of crisis. And so he made these three temples which we have shown you, and he used to stay here. But even if you fast forward to today, I want you to just imagine how these people stay here in this forest. Look behind me. The amount of distance that we have traveled to reach here just says how much isolated this place is and how much scary it can get in the night. And people stay here. Sometimes spirituality needs isolation. Meanwhile, let me show you the ditches that king dug in to protect himself. Right behind me are those ditches which were dug in by the king that time to protect himself from the enemy, because the Delhi Sultanate, the kings were after his life. So he dug in here, made a kind of fortress for himself. And what do you make in a fortress? You dug in moats, you dug in ditch, so that the enemy can't advance in on your precise location.
Those walls or those small mountains are basically what is left of the fort of Ichai Ghosh that we spoke about few moments earlier. The fort used to be here back in 1100 AD, and all that is left are the walls of that fort. What you can see are the same walls of those fort. Today that fort is no longer there, it's out of existence, but all that is left are the walls which still protects this compound as it circulates the compound. It stretches to left and right, and this campus which houses these three temples or four temples are still protected by the amazing work and that's been done somewhere back to almost 1,000 years ago. But the fort that we spoke about earlier, all that is left today is in front of you. These mountain kind of things are nothing but the walls of the fort, which is now underground or doesn't exist at all. Welcome to Deul. Ichai Ghosh's Deul was probably built in the middle of the 18th century, but Ichai Ghosh himself had not made this Deul. Someone from the dynasty of posterity had made Deul in the memory of Ichai Ghosh. He belonged to the middle of the 11th century and was considered an influential feudal king. The historical account about him comes from the Tamrolipi script found in 1833. More from the historical evidence we found about Ichai Ghosh from a verse called Dharam Mangal. From Dharam Mangal we learned that unable to tolerate his influence and power, the king of the Gorh dynasty sent his general Kornoshen to teach Ichai Ghosh a lesson. A war then took place on the banks of Ajay river, which flows nearby, between Ichai Ghosh and Kornoshen. Shen was defeated. Kornoshen's wife was Ranavati. It's believed that Ranavati was a goddess. She had 2 children. The eldest son's name was Lao Shen. When Lao Shen became mature, he attacked Ichai Ghosh to avenge his father's defeat. Ichai Ghosh was blessed with the blessings of Devi Chondi to remain immortal. But when Lao Shen attacked, goddess Chondi Mata gave him an order in a dream that he should not fight with Lao Shen. But Ichai Ghosh ignored the dream. After a fierce battle, he was defeated by Lao Shen and eventually died. It's mentioned in the verse that the war had assumed such a severe form that the death toll was so high that the water of the Ajay river had become blood-stained. The enraged Lao Shen destroyed the fort of Ichai Ghosh. The ruin of the fort's destruction could be seen in Medha Ashram, which we showed you earlier. All that is left are the walls of that ashram. But it must be mentioned that all the above said does not have an historical evidence.
So we are done with all the locations as I told you in the beginning of this journey. We are done with all of it and we have told you the story of every place. Do tell us how are you liking this channel, how are you liking our videos. But for today, that's all we have. Thanks a lot for watching.